All right, here we go. Sarah here. Welcome back to another episode of You're Fucking Welcome. Today I have a short episode for you, but one that I imagine can be really impactful, especially if you are somebody who is going through a temporary setback, a moment where you are kind of struggling to get to the other side. And I've seen this time and time again with women at all different levels and stages of business. And I think it's something that happens so much more than I think most people acknowledge. I don't know. I think in this online space, it can be very easy to kind of make it seem like everybody's journey is just up and up and up, as opposed to these peaks and valleys that are really realistic and that happen for all of us. And so I say that because I had a conversation with a client last week who I adore, and she's having a moment where, she was doing really well in business. She had taken off for some personal reasons, and she's not struggling, but having a hard time kind of ramping up the momentum again. And not necessarily from like a logistic, practical perspective, but more honestly from a mindset perspective. And again, I know that we can all be in that position. I've certainly been in that position. And so I wanted to just break down 3 of the things that I think are the most important for you to understand and to embrace and to remember, so that you can get back and you can create that momentum. Because I really do deeply believe with all of our businesses, momentum can be created so much more quickly than we realize. And again, I think these 3 points are going to help you see that and feel that. So the first thing is that the really good news is that when you are in a moment of void, right? Like you're in the valley, if you will, and you're having a moment where you want to get to the other side, most of the time, and I say this in a loving way, most of the time, you're not doing the things you know to do. You're the only one holding yourself back. And I know from experience that you can't see that when you're in that moment, because you're overanalyzing everything. You're thinking about what you did right, what you did wrong, what you should do as you move forward, what's the perfect next step to take, so on and so forth. And I will see women, very smart, very capable women, not realize that they are not doing the things that actually get them the results. And so what I mean by this is that I'll see a lot of people kind of feed into the whole, rest is a money-making activity, and, working on your brand is a money-making activity, personal development is a money-making activity. All of those things are true. All of those things are true. But they're inbound things, right? Like there are things that happen internally when it comes to you, your business, your mindset, your energy, all of it. If you are not actually getting up each day and giving content, asking for the sale, creating calls to action, creating ways and openings for people to work with you, you're not doing a really big part of the job here. And again, I know that it can feel like such an obvious thing for me to say, while at the same time, again, we've all been in that place where we are thinking to death, whatever it is our next step is. And so we're exhausted. We're exhausting ourselves. We feel like we're working all around the clock, and it's not even registering to us that we're not taking the actual steps that, again, bridge the gap between you having everything right on the back end and actually translating that to the human beings who have credit cards who might actually pay you. And so I just want you to recognize here that if you're having a moment where things don't feel like they're moving forward, I want you to just really take a moment and really be honest with yourself and ask yourself, am I doing the things that I know to do? The things that Sarah Dan has been fucking preaching to me for years and years and years. Show up, give, nurture my audience, bring people into my world, ask for the sale. Am I doing those things? And if I'm not honest to God doing those things each and every day, how can I step that up, right? And more than that, why am I not doing those things that I know to do in the first place? Side note, most of the time that we don't do the things that we know to do, it's because we don't believe that we can get the result that we want. Because if you believe that you could get the result that you wanted, you would do the things that you know how to do. And again, we all have those moments. So it's not a criticism. You're not crazy. You're not wrong if you're having one of those moments. But it takes this reset internally, in my experience, in my opinion, for you to really just recognize and be honest with yourself around what is going on here in terms of the practical actions that I'm taking. Because I'll say it again, because I think it's such an important point. You thinking to death, you doing your mindset work, you doing your journaling in the morning, you working on perfecting your website, all of those things that are important business building things, they don't matter all that much if you are not taking the outbound action to actually express it and share it with people and bring those people into your world and share what you're selling, share what the call to action is, so on and so forth. You have to make those outbound moves. Business is not an internal game only. It's both, right? So again, all the internal shit has to be working, yes, but we then have to go out and share it with the world. The way that I've often explained it to people is like, you are trying to sell this car and you're just talking about how wonderful, I don't know anything about cars, but like how wonderful everything underneath the hood works, but then you're not willing to open the hood for people. If you're not willing to show people what's going on underneath the surface, they don't have an opportunity to buy from you. And so again, I want you to just be honest with yourself around how much action are you actually taking in that regard. And if you're not taking the action, how can you actually step that up? And again, coming from a place of like, wow, this is great news. All this time I've been torturing myself about the result that I didn't get, and I didn't realize that I wasn't actually taking enough action. I wasn't putting myself out there enough to create the results that I want. Cool. I'm the only one holding myself back now. Now I know what to do, and now I know how to create what it is that I actually want. Again, this is great news. The second thing is that I want you to recognize the power of small wins. Again, I know in this coaching space, it can be very sexy to talk about $1 million months and so on and so forth. And don't get me wrong, nobody's mad at $1 million months, right? Like I want them, you want them. They're not bad things. But I find that so often when people are, again, in this moment of a void, they're in a moment where they really feel like they need that comeback. They're putting so much pressure on the comeback. And that's when I see people who are having a moment where they're not making money in their business and they're like planning out the $60 million launch that they're going to have next week. And they overwhelm themselves and they give themselves these huge goals they don't even believe that they can actually hit at all. And they just set themselves up for, I don't want to say failure, but disappointment. They set themselves up for disappointment. And I want you to really just embrace here, a win is a win is a win. You selling something for $1, if you've gone, right, 2 weeks without selling anything, nobody will buy anything from you, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? You selling something for $1 is actually a huge win because it's this confirmation, it's this validation that sometimes we all need that yes, people are paying attention. Yes, it's working. Things are moving in the right direction. And so I'm not necessarily really suggesting that you sell something for $1, but I hope you're hearing me here that you, again, creating a big production out of where you want to go next to essentially like validate that you're out of the void. I get it and I understand it, but I often, like I said, I see it as something that sets you up for disappointment more often than not. And so you simply, like, let me use this example. I remember when I was like not dating, Nicole Moore calls it incremental manifesting, which I really love. But when I was not dating at all, I was like so afraid to like put myself out there or actually say yes to a date. And I would go on the dating apps, but then I would never say yes to anybody, whatever. And like, I got to this point where I'm like, I just need to literally go to fucking Target and challenge myself to like make eye contact with a man. That sounds so crazy, but I was like, I just want to get hit on, or I want to be approached. I want to start small, something that doesn't feel scary. I don't care if I'm attracted to this person. I've just got to get a little win. I've got to get that confidence up. I've got to get my groove back, if you will. I have to like feel those little wins coming in to make me feel like, yes, I can keep going. Okay, I liked that. More, please. And so again, to use this example in terms of business, when you are, again, sitting there trying, if you really need the money, especially, and you are trying to sell something for $10,000 that you were like, I need this $10,000 so fucking badly, it can be a situation where you're not showing up as yourself. You're kind of, again, making it all about the money. You're putting pressure and you're operating in this really frantic energy that is not attractive to anybody. Whereas if you simply started showing up, selling things that felt like no-brainers, felt like things that were just like super obvious, or maybe you offer, I know that I have shared this many times before, but when COVID initially started, I had just gotten surgery. So like I hadn't planned on selling a lot of things that month. And so again, everyone was freaking out about COVID. And I was like, let's just do something like a positivity power hour. I feel like everybody needs kind of like a bump in morale, whatever it is. And so I did Monday through Friday, 1 week only. It was hour-long Zoom calls, and it was $11. And like a couple days I came prepared with stuff, a couple days that I just openly coached. And again, it was $11. I had my biggest month ever at that point, $113,000 the following month, with so much of that money coming in from people who were actually on Positivity Power Hour and were enjoying the content, were enjoying the energy, and wanted to keep going. And so again, I use that as this example because for me, especially, and I know that a lot of you are the same way, right? We thrive off of live energy. And so being able to get a bunch of people onto a Zoom call, see their smiling faces, that feels like momentum. That feels like energy. I always compare it to popcorn popping. It feels like things are moving in the right direction. And so are you going to be a millionaire off of the $11 thing you sell? Probably not, but you're not looking at the long-term success of your business and the long-term results that you actually want. And I think that's such a big problem in and of itself. You're planning for the thing, the outcome that you want right away, and you're not seeing, okay, how can I play the long game here? How can I get some buzz moving? How can I get things going in the right direction in a way that I know that will actually serve me? And so again, you giving yourself that permission to not overly focus on the big amount of money that you want, even if you want it, even if you need it. I get it, but that's often operating from that place is often the thing that holds you back from that amount of money anyway. And so my suggestion here is that you stop obsessing about that number so that you can get to that number even faster. And that is by, again, giving yourself those small wins. And I'm using the example of low-end offers here. That's not the only way to do it. You sitting there being like, I'm going to go on 5 different podcasts that get me in front of my ideal clients because I haven't been putting my message out there for a year. That's a win too. I just want you to give yourself, again, a win. Like I'm using that word very intentionally. I want you to feel like you're winning. I want you to get out of this place where you are behind or you're feeling like you're not losing, but not making any progress. I want you to give yourself that gift of a little tiny bit of progress. Even if it's small, it's going to push you towards the next win and the next win and the next win. And that is what we're here to do, not function our businesses just for big paydays. We're here for incremental gain, incremental growth. And so I want you to remember and embrace that versus, again, like I said, setting yourself up for disappointment. And the final quick tip that I have for you, which is a very important one for me, this is an important thing that I say to clients a lot, and I feel like I haven't talked enough about this, but I mean, I've been honest with you before about how, at times in my business, I've definitely had a harder time owning, oh, I want you to work with Sarah Dan, right? I have had moments where I don't know, I wasn't ready to position myself or to own how amazing I am at what I do. And so if I was selling something like a one-on-one opportunity, just talking about, being in my energy or working with me, it felt like something I just wasn't as confident about. Even though I've known that I'm really good at what I do, it was easier to make it about the work. And so I think that, of course, we could make this argument that like there's work to be done around that. And I want you to understand why you're worthy of the sale and why people should pay to be in your energy and all those kinds of things. I totally understand the argument of that, balanced out with, if you are in a moment where you are having, again, that setback and we want to create some wins for you, you making it about the work is one of the most powerful and most helpful and most fast ways to get you moving forward. Because again, this is not about you. It's so easy if, again, you are in this moment where you haven't been making money and you go out of the gate trying to sell a one-on-one coaching experience at a higher price than you've ever sold it before, and nobody buys that. It's not shocking that you are going to make that mean something about you. And you're going to beat yourself up and you're going to feel like, oh God, nobody wants to work with me. Nobody wants my stuff. And again, make it all about you. You making it about the work, the results, the thing that your people want. And again, separating yourself from it completely. That is, again, a really, really fast and really quick way to move things forward. And for me, again, it's always been so much easier for me to sell you on something like, I don't know, let's map out your funnel or whatever it is, whatever that end game result is of the session. And the reason that has been easier for me is because I could get my logical brain wrapped around the fact that, okay, let's say I suck, right? Like, let's say I'm having the worst of the worst days when it comes to confidence and self-worth, all of those kind of things. Let's just say that for a moment. I still know you want to build a funnel. right? Like that's it. That's like me walking around a friggin' desert and everybody's thirsty. And the idea that nobody would pay me for a bottle of water, it just doesn't make sense. People need the thing that I'm selling. So of course they're going to buy it. And so again, for you, this is where I want you to remember the results that you offer people and the thing that you offer people in those moments, because that's where it's actually, I think, a really helpful and healthy thing for you to take yourself out of it completely and for you to simply make it about the work. So that way you're not, sitting there waiting for the validation of a sale or making it mean something about you if you didn't get the sale. It's just about the work. And again, you're able to pour into your people based on the result that you know that they want. Okay? The result that you know that they want. I have shared it a million times before, but I love the quote from the book, How Rich People Think. And I might butcher it, even though I've said it a million times right now, but I'm saying it off the top of my head. But he talks about how, the middle class, if you will, they are focused on, getting their share of money and, trying to keep and save what they get. And the wealthy know that ideas are limitless and therefore money is limitless. And so to me, again, the way that I've always said that to myself internally is like, all I need to do is have an idea for a solution and I know that I can make money. That's it. I know that I can make money if I do that. And so I know within each of you, even if, like I said, you are having the worst day in terms of confidence, in terms of self-worth, we're all going to have those moments. So you don't need to feel bad or ashamed about that at all. But this is where, again, you giving yourself the easy way out, kind of, make it easy. Again, make it about the work that you do, make it about the result that you know you can get for people. And that's going to make it so much easier for them to say yes to you and therefore for you to get the ball rolling again. Truly, I have fallen back on this many, many, many times in my life and in my business career. And I want you to just embrace that. By doing that, one tip alone, so often I think that you can make the act of money making and those stressful moments so much easier for yourself. So I really encourage you to embrace that and to act on that. And so that is all I wanted to share with you today. This week, I have opened up 3 spots for 90-day one-on-one coaching. One of them is already taken, but these are the last spots that I have for the rest of the year. I won't be taking on 90-day one-on-one clients until at least January. But this coaching with me is organic, it's strategic, and it's really geared towards helping you create the next level of your business, of your life, based on what it is that you want. And I want to be so clear. I know how cliche that sounds. I always am telling you, like, don't just say the next level because that could mean anything. But the thing is with one-on-one coaching, it gets to mean what it means to you. What do you want for the next level? What do you want to create? What do you want to stop doing? How do you want your business to feel? How do you need to restructure? That's what we get to do in a one-on-one coaching experience where you have calls with me. We have 2 options. You can either do bi-weekly or weekly, and then you also have Voxer access to me. But this is what we can dive in together. We can figure out what it is that you want moving forward and how to actually get there. And so if you are interested in that, go ahead and apply sarah-dan.com, and I will reach out to you if I feel like you are a good fit. Again, we have 3 I opened up 3 spots. 1 is already taken, so I have 2 spots left as I record this. And so if you are somebody who knows that it's time for a change in their business and that it's time to create that next level version of what you want all of this to look like, I know that I can help you from a strategic and from a mindset perspective figure out how to get there and to support you and guide you as you are getting there. And so if that is you, I would love to have you. Again, sarah-dan.com to apply, and I'll talk to you next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you took the time to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps the show a ton, and I would be super grateful.